Do children need COVID vaccination? Given that their risk of dying from COVID is very small, and given that their risk of getting acutely unwell and hospitalised is also very small, you may wonder whether they need a vaccine. Well, then you might say, well, if we vaccinated children, we could stop the transmission of the virus. And that's probably true. The vaccine is very effective against severe disease, but it's also about 50% protective against transmission, which means it halves the likelihood of one child infecting another one. Well, it might also be of value to their older parents and grandparents who might be protected from exposure to COVID. There's another thing that happens with COVID. It's called long COVID, and it's essentially fatigue and brain fog. Brain fog is where your attention, your concentration, your memory are all affected by the long-term effects of the COVID infection. It happens in about 5 to 10% of adults, where the symptoms of COVID continue for at least 3 months and potentially a year or more. In children, the risk of long COVID is less than 2%. So again, children are not badly affected by COVID. However, what about children getting a good education and being able to attend school? Well, if COVID-19 virus is transmitting, schools often get shut down. So here's a possible reason for vaccinating teenagers to prevent transmission at schools. Remember too that teachers are older than teenagers, and the older you are as a teacher, the greater your risk of COVID. If you said the risk of COVID disease and death was a number called X in 20-year-olds, well, in people in their 30s, the risk of death from COVID is 4 times higher. That's quite a bit higher. But the risk of death in your 50s from COVID is almost 40 times higher. That's why teachers in their 50s, their 60s, their 40s are vaccinated first, and then teachers in their 20s and 30s. So do you vaccinate children and teenagers against COVID? At this point in time, it's only licensed down to 12 years of age, and many people are advocating vaccinating children from the age of 12 years. So there you go, there's a question for you, and there's a research element to it, and why don't you take part in the research?